I know I had problems with this when I first started out, trying to work through my priorities, and I realized that I didn't take time for myself. I was doing everything for everybody else. So one of the things I like to encourage moms that have children at home or if they're doing online school is you find an hour a day that you can spend just for you. How is this going to create a better balance? One is sometimes when we slow down, we relax, we stop, and we spend some time just being, our brains start to sort things out. We can hear from the Lord, and we can start to figure out what's really important. It's also great to teach the kids to take some time alone. When they're tiny, we called it nap time. As they got older, we called it a quiet time. You might call it alone time at your house. But finding that time to spend alone, that time to just regroup, to do things for yourself. So find out how you can also figure out how can you then have some time to spend with your husband. There's a couple different times that are particularly easy, particularly if he's working outside the house and you're staying at home, or even if you're both trying to work. Spend some time if you can before you leave for work or he leaves for work. This might be snuggling in the bed. It might be eating breakfast together. We like to pray at breakfast. We don't always eat at the same time, but before we both leave the kitchen, we find a moment to stop and pray together about our days. And I love to hug my man and get close to him, and we bow our heads to the Lord and ask him to bless our days and guide us. It's one of those little ways we can connect. When he was working about 12-hour days when he's in the military, I made a point of kissing him when he left for work, as long as he wasn't leaving before 6 a.m. I had a limit. 6 a.m. was my limit. Next time we're going to talk about boundaries, so we'll talk about some of those. And then I also made it a point to stop at the end of the day when he came home, or whenever that was, and go to him and give him a kiss and acknowledge the fact that he was coming in the door. I did that when the boys were little. I did that when they were high school, and I still try to make a point of doing that today. We're both working from home, so sometimes it's a little harder to do that. But I do try to make a point of connecting with him and just saying, hey, I love you. I want to spend time with you. The second thing we can do is to schedule our work hours. That's what I was talking about with the gal that was working the long hours and all the extra weekend hours. We had to really stop and think about what were the real goals for work and how many hours did that actually require. Did she have to work that many weekends to prove that she was an excellent worker and she was worthy of a promotion? No, she did not. But we had to figure that out, and she had to get convinced of that. That limited her work hours there. I know for my husband and I, when he was in the military, I really tried to make sure that I got my housework done, so I was finished when the dinner dishes were done. That meant I had to back everything back up, and I had to figure out how to load that washing machine at night, start it first thing in the morning, how to make sure I had meals planned, all kinds of things, so I wasn't rushing around at the end of the day. And then I could be relaxed and have my work finished. I also tried to make sure I could clear out the weekends. Now, if you're working full-time, I know that's not going to happen for your weekends. But still, try to clear out some time, a couple hours, where you can spend together relaxing with your husband or with the family. You need to be able to limit your work hours. I know some of you work really long hours and you have super long drives. I know one gal who's staying at home right now, and her husband's a teacher, but he's got about an hour drive to work. And so every morning, once he gets in the car and he gets going down the road, he calls her up and they do their devotions together on the phone every morning while he's headed to work. They found time in the busy schedule to spend some time together. You've got to be able to limit your work hours. If you're working from home, which so many of us are after this pandemic that's gone through, you have to limit your work hours. I know I work from home, and so does my husband now, but we have to decide at dinner time, it's usually 6 o'clock. If there's something in the evening, we have to stop at 5. We're stopping and we're not working. Is it hard to do? Yes, it's so hard to do. Because there's all these things that I think could keep going. This could go, and this could go, this could go. And it's so easy to pick up your phone and check and see if those messages are there. What's happening? Blah, 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 and just keep going. But it doesn't give us that time to stop and rest and spend together. So schedule your work hours. I've decided what time in the morning I start. I like to say 8 o'clock. Usually it's 9. I'll just be honest about that. and I work 3 days a week in this business. Now, and the other days would be my housework and some exercise time out of the house, my line dancing, doctor's appointments, and all those kinds of things. And then I try to keep Saturdays free, at least half the day, to do fun things together. Most of the time that works. And I say most of the time because like last weekend we realized that we had a laundry detergent that had some kind of fragrance in it that was making my husband itch. And we had to wash everything with a clear detergent. So it took a lot of work. But in between, I sat and rested. I didn't do anything else but that wash, and he helped me with it. So what's the third thing you can do? And you will hear me talk about this over and over and over again. Plan a weekly date. Okay, I know I've heard your excuses, and I'm going to hear them again. You talk about, Joyce, I'm going to see if I got any messages here. Nope, messages. Joyce, we can't go on a date. We can't get out of the house. We're stuck here with the pandemic. Okay. Or maybe you're stuck there because you don't have any money. Or you're stuck there because the kids are there. A date is not necessarily going out of the house. That is fun to do. I know it's fun. I love it. But there are some things you can do. You can get a special treat at the grocery store and sit out in the backyard. You can go for a walk in the snow if it's snowing where you are. You can put the kids to bed and sit down and snuggle on the couch and have a date. You can have a special meal after the kids have gone to bed, or serve it in a different room, or have the kids go to youth group, or they're staying with a friend. One of the gals was telling me, her daughter's in swim team several days a week, and so that's now a date time for she and her husband. They can meet for dinner while her daughter's swimming. I said, be sure and mix it up a little bit, try some different things. But setting aside time on your calendar. I have a paper calendar. I still use my paper calendar. I tried my phone, but I can't get enough details. I like to write down lots of details, but I can't get them on my phone. So if you're a detail person, you may want to go back to paper. But if you're on a calendar on your phone, write in your date time. For us, it's usually been Friday night through the year. Sometimes it's Saturday night, and sometimes it has to slip to Thursday morning if my husband's going out of town for the weekend. Sometimes it's on Sunday night because the whole week has been busy. But plan in some time, whether you're doing it at home or you're doing it away from the house. But Joyce, he won't plan the dates. I know. Most guys won't plan the dates. So skip that one. Don't tell me he won't. That doesn't mean you don't need them. One of the gals I was talking to, I said, so what can you do? Her husband didn't even like the word date. She said, well, he likes to go for drives after church. I said, okay. Then just ask him, can we go for a drive after church? She's had a hard time. They didn't want to get out of the car. And I said, okay, so where could you go that you could go get something in the car, some takeout, and sit and have something fun and spend a little time just chatting or looking at something you want to? Go, oh, we could go here, we could go there. So she kind of coming up with these places that they could just go for a drive after church. To her, that was a date. Her husband didn't realize he was going on a date, but he was. She also said that she could get the ingredients in the refrigerator freezer to have root beer floats. And so that on Friday night or whichever, sometimes he didn't know if he had to work late. It was usually Friday or Saturday he had to work late. So she was flexible with that so they could sit and watch a movie. She had a movie picked out. And they could have root beer floats and sit and watch a movie together. Part of this is realizing how important it is to keep your husband on that priority list. Does that mean that this 20 minutes or so I'm going to have to spend with my husband, or 2 hours a week, is going to be the exact same time that I'm spending on my work? No. We're not talking about balanced time. We're talking about that we keep it that our husbands don't drop off the list. And that we don't drop off the list. We find that time to do the things together. So we also need to set boundaries on your work once you come home. Yes, you've left your work at home, or maybe you've finished all the work at the house. But one of the biggest deterrents is this phone. And it just keeps beeping. Turn off those messages, reminders, particularly in the evening when you're spending time together. It is so distracting to be sitting there talking with your husband, and it's going beep, beep, beep. You can catch them later. Or as one gal says, after she does the dishes, she turns her phone off and she puts it on the kitchen counter, and then she goes out and sits with her husband in the living room. I know some of you may have jobs that you have to have beepers and pagers that are on. I remember in the military when we had 3 different phones beside the bed because 3 different people could call him, and if they did, any one of them was an emergency. I was so glad when we got rid of all those phones. But it was important for his job, and I understand that. But if you can, stay off this phone for a while. Don't look at it while you're having dinner. Try to find other things to do other than sit and watch TV. That'll give you time to talk. So finding these boundaries to stay off the phone, not get back into the office for working if you're working from home, not pull out your computer again. I got to do a little more work. Now, sometimes my husband had to do that, but he would tell me ahead of time that was what was going to happen. But he did find a way to get home for dinner. And right after dinner, we sat and had a cup of coffee or tea together and talked for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then he would go work. So we had that time. We carved it out. We saved it. So what else can you do to maintain it? Let me just go through this. I'll review them all in a minute. Maintain a budget. Why does that find that work-life balance? Because you need to put money in that budget for yourselves. You need to have money to go on a date. Maybe it's a tiny little bit. Maybe it's $5 or $10 a month. Maybe you can spend $20 a month. Maybe you can spend more. We have a budget line in our budget that says date, and we put money into it on a regular basis every month. Sometimes it's getting takeout. I know in the heart of the pandemic when everything was locked down, I looked at our checkbook where we keep a register of what we spent with the credit card, and it said Lowe's, fast food. Lowe's, fast food. That's all we could do. We went to Lowe's and did a bunch of stuff in the yard, and then we'd go out for fast food. But that was our date each week. Was it exciting? No. Then I found out we could go to state parks and talk about inexpensive. The state parks were only $10 or $12 a car. You just had to make a reservation to get in. And so we did, and we had loads of fun. We need to do some more of that this spring when it warms up. So planning, but having that little bit of money set aside. Also knowing that you're setting aside some money for savings, and you're set aside money for a vacation when you can take one. Maybe it's a time that you can leave the kids with the grandparents and you can go off and do something. I know what our kids do that. They leave us with the grandkids and they go off for a couple nights. Fun for us and fun for them. But they have a little money set aside to do those things. Also, you need to have some savings and planning for your future. Don't spend it all. Don't work so hard that you have no time left for the two of you. So let me remind you of a few things here that we can do, 5 things we can do to find that better balance between work and our life. Remember, it's not equal time. It's being able to make sure that in the busyness of life, which I know it's busy, whether you're working from home, you're working outside the home, your job is fully in the home as a homemaker, you're working. I don't know what you're doing. You're working. We need to find time, first off, to rest. God said that on the 7th day he rested. And each time he did a job, he would create something, and he'd sit back and say, that's good. And we need to be able to do that, to find something and stop. God just doesn't keep working and working and working. He has a place to stop. So 5 ways to balance work and our marriage life. First off, spend time with your husband before work or after work. I know when the kids were little and they were running around in circles, little preschoolers, I'd go in with my husband while he changed out of his uniform just so I could talk with him without kiddos running around. I knew they were safe. They were in the backyard or they were playing with toys. I spent a little time together. Now I try to make sure, I've done this through the years, that when he does come home, I go give him a kiss. But Joyce, I'm right in the middle of cooking dinner. Turn the burner off, move that pan someplace. Go give your husband a kiss. Just acknowledging that he's home and that you're thankful he's there. If you're the one driving in last and he's already home, then go give him and say, hey, hon, I'm glad to be home. Give him a kiss. You're reconnecting, you're reestablishing that. And that physical touch makes that connection so much stronger.